UFC's where the big fighters duke it out in an effort to come out victorious in the end. But some don't get to win, and it's sad to say that Ciryl Gane was unable to defeat the UFC title holder Ngannou, who still reigns as the champion. We'll be revealing more thrilling details about the whole match, so let's get right into today's video. First up, Ngannou versus Gane. Let's take a look. There aren't any more disputes when it comes to the heavyweight division, as Ngannou has come up on top via unanimous decision. His scores are pretty impressive, as the judges gave him 48, 48, and 49 points respectively, which made him win the match. This means that Ngannou remains the undefeated UFC heavyweight champion, and we would like to see if he can keep it up in the future as well. Gane stepped into the octagon as the interim title holder. Things were pretty close between Ngannou and Ciryl during the whole match, as Ngannou managed to get 62 strikes, while Ciryl managed to get a whopping 67. We hoped he would have won the match with that performance of his, but it's sad to say that the judges weren't having any of it. It was round 4 when Gane managed to land some successful front kicks, and Ngannou managed to wrestle him down. Both fighters were building up a ton of sweat and started to seem visibly tired, as is the case when the match rears its head towards the 4th round. Ngannou made sure to catch his breath for a bit and decided it was time to go on the offensive, and in the closing seconds, he started firing clubbing shots to Gane's face. But that wasn't the gist of the match, as Gane managed to also score a one-legged takedown on the undefeated heavyweight champion after what seemed to be the first minute of the round. While Ciryl Gane was doing his best in the octagon, his dominant position stayed pretty short-lived, as Ngannou managed to overcome him and regain top control. Gane tried his best to fend off Ngannou and made sure to rebound by managing to secure a leg lock. It was around 30 seconds when Ngannou managed to shake loose his leg and got into a full mount position on top of Gane. Ngannou managed to make the most of his wrestling and grappling skills and made sure to finish the fight down on the mat. The part where Ngannou came on top wasn't in the striking, but he outdid himself when it came to the ground. His grappling was impeccable, and he turned up the pressure on Ciryl, which is one of the reasons why he came out on top. Ngannou managed to score about 4 takedowns during the whole match. You'd be surprised to know that around 8.5 minutes of the match were spent on the octagon's mat, where Ngannou tried his best to defeat the more technical fighter Gane. Ngannou, as a result of winning the match, improved his score to around 17 wins and 3 losses, but things were pretty tough for Ciryl. He never tasted defeat, and for the first time in his life, he felt it, and it will probably take a while before he can recover from it. Ciryl Gane got his first loss for the match after having 10 consecutive prior wins. This was supposed to be the last match of Ngannou's UFC contract, and we're yet to see what he does next, as it's unclear if he will stay with the UFC or go towards free agency instead. Now, let's look into some reactions by pros and fans. Many took to Twitter to express their views on the matchup, and there were a lot of things that people had to say. Aljamain Sterling was on Ngannou's side, and he supported him throughout the match, and took to Twitter to express his views. He stated that Ngannou is a beast when it comes to the octagon, and the way he walks towards you is full of impending doom. It's like the real Terminator is coming to get you, and getting through the night, or in this case, getting through the match, will be one hopeless ordeal for real. Fans placed all their bets on Ngannou from the start, with only a few on Ciryl, since Ngannou is the heavyweight champion and is notorious for his punches being incredibly strong and heavy, enough to knock out opponents within seconds. Fans hoped the match would end in a beautifully executed knockout, but that wasn't the case, as Ciryl Gane stood his ground. Teddy Atlas said that Ciryl Gane should be prepared for the match and not get caught by a nasty blow from Ngannou because of his impeccable punches. It's possible he'll get knocked out cold, and to stop that from happening, he has to pour his heart and soul and stay at the top of his game. Julian Marquez was surprised to see that Gane was able to stand his ground against Ngannou, and he was cheering for the underdog in this case. Luke Thomas was impressed by what he had to see when it came to Cyryl's performance in the octagon. He said that his decision-making was overall great, and he was doing great in every aspect to fend off and hold up against Ngannou. Everyone was pretty impressed with the way Ngannou was handling things on the ground, and decided to compare himself against Khabib Nurmagomedov. And the way Ciryl Gane was showing a lot of movement, he was being compared with Muhammad Ali. Bilal Muhammad said that Tyson Fury better watch out, because he shouldn't be talking about going into MMA against Francis Ngannou, else he'll destroy Tyson considering the wrestling and ground tactics he's managed to show the crowd. John Jones, who relinquished the light heavyweight title and hasn't seen any action for around 2 years now, had most of his fun on social media, and that too at the expense of Ngannou versus Ciryl. He stated that people are surprised when the new guy does great, but soon into the match, his tune changed, as he saw how Ngannou wrestled Ciryl Gane. He stated that he might just enjoy his retirement instead after finishing the match. John may be giving out wrestling opinions, and it seems like that's all he'll be doing, because if you ask many others like Dana White, the president of UFC, it seems unlikely that John Jones will indeed become the next heavyweight contender, considering the current roster of the UFC. Next, Francis Ngannou slams the UFC. It seems that after winning his match, Francis Ngannou has had enough of the politics and corruption that goes on within the UFC outside of the octagon. Ngannou says that he can't take it anymore within the sport and is considering leaving it all just a few days after defending the title. Although he defended the belt with an amazing victory, recently it seems that he might walk away from the UFC after his contract is officially over. He stated that he wants to pursue a career in boxing, as he is most famous for his notorious striking, which could easily translate into the boxing sport. He has also been linked with Tyson Fury and Jake Paul, and this doesn't sit well with the president of UFC, Dana White. Ngannou stated that he was unimpressed with the snub made by Dana White. He in fact remained unfazed about the whole thing. He was just happy at the fact that he managed to win the fight. He stated that he's content with where he's at and he's not too particularly worried about where his future is headed towards. Francis further added that happiness is all that matters to him at the moment. Reporters asked if Francis Ngannou got in touch with Dana White or if UFC officials got in touch with him. He revealed that Dana White didn't come into the octagon to put his belt around his waist and didn't even show up to the press conference. So, he hasn't been in contact with anyone at the moment. Ngannou also revealed that he had torn his MCL just 3 weeks before the match with Ciryl Gane took place, and he would definitely need to get his knee prepped for surgery. After the win with Gane, Ngannou's contract has been extended to 3 matches, which is around 1 year in accordance with the championship clause. But it's still pretty unclear if Ngannou will ever contest and participate in another UFC fight, as he stated that he's willing to sit on the sidelines until his contract expires if the grievances in regards to the promotion aren't addressed. Ngannou is pretty unhappy with his UFC contract though, as it doesn't cover health insurance, and there are many more problems within the UFC that he doesn't like one bit. He stated that he has been down $7 million because he's consistently left money on the table for multiple matches, and he's happy with the $600,000 he's made with the Ciryl Gane fight. And that's pretty much it for today's video. Make sure to leave a like if you liked the video, dislike if you disliked it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn notifications on to get notified about future videos as we upload daily. With that said, we bid you farewell. Have a great time. This is us signing out.